Let's hear it from the so-called horse's mouth.
In times, that's a thing that's always been spoken of. But again, to your point right now, when you're always tuning into the news and seeing everything that's going on in Israel and Palestine, when you're seeing everything that's going on with these hurricanes, if you had to guess, how much time do you think that we might have left as a people right now in this current state of America?
My rough estimate, a guess. This is a guess.
Right.
It's not biblical. Anywhere between 20 and 30 years. 20, 30, something like that.
Is that hectic? Yes. Who are you voting for, Bishop?
Hey, giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem HaRachakodash, and double honors to our apostles and elders here at Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the Lord's hopefully elect. I would like to pose the question again, or pose a question. Will Bishop Nathanyel give that same answer as of today being October 26, 2025? Will he still give that same answer? Because when Elder Pastor Hard did this video back in May, which is 5 months ago, the video that's playing was done in November of 2024. This is before Trump was, I think Trump was already pretty much elected. But nevertheless, you saw all the hell that was breaking loose because people didn't want him back in office. So back then he said 20, 30 years. Will he still say that today? Even though things are much worse than they were almost a year ago. Will he still say 20, 30 years today? That's the question they ask. And they even say that shows, as the scripture says, they give you the prophecy of their own heart, the deceit of their own heart. Like you've heard us saying, and the apostle been saying, those guys, they don't want to get out of here. So when somebody's going to say or teach what they want, they're going to teach what they want to say or what they want to be the case. So what Bishop Nathanyel wants to be the case is 20, 30 years. So if we was to ask him that question today, hey, so with all this that's happening with Israel and Palestine, with Trump making these moves with National Guard, with the government shutdown, do you still believe we have another 20, 30 years? I would like to know if he would still give that same answer, given that he already gave that answer a year ago. Even then, the world was upside down. Now I'd like to play this. This is some recent news.
Terry Hegseth. Sir, a memo circulating on social media details the establishment of a National Guard response force that's going to be trained in crowd control and civil unrest and deployed in all 50 states by April of 2026. Can you verify the authenticity of that memo, and do you have any more information on the operations?
I'm not going to answer particulars on something that may be in the planning process, but we definitely do have multiple layers of National Guard response forces, whether it's in each state, whether it's regionally, whether it's Title 10 active duty, whether it's Washington, D.C. We've got a lot of different ways that constitutionally and legally we can employ Title 10 and Title 32 forces, and we will do so when necessary.
So if you didn't know, there was a memo that went out that said that by August of 2026, they want National Guard deployed in all 50 states, and they want them all battle ready and war ready to respond against what they will call civil unrest, which means that what? That's going to be, because the goal was always to bring it across all 50 states. He started in D.C., and then he said, we're going to go to the next major cities. He said Chicago, and then he said New York. But the goal is going to be all 50 states. That's the goal. The goal is that he wants a police state. He didn't care if you had people who was in D.C. coming out and saying, there's no rioters, there's no gangs that he's talking about. What is he talking about? And like we say, it's what? He doesn't care, because his goal is to bring a police state. And if need be, he will create the chaos to justify bringing in the troops, because that's really what his true heart's intent is anyway. He started in his own backyard, and he's going to the major cities, and then now the goal is all 50 states, because he wants to create a police force, a police state. But it was already written in the prophecy anyway. That's the point. It was already written in the prophecy anyway. So it was already seen. seen, it was already written, and it was already given. As just 15. 17 says, 15 says, 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. Excuse me. And one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands, and there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. What's that? That's anarchy. It says a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. What do you? That's martial law. Now, it's basically already here, and they're planning on having them completely set up and done by April 2026. See, what you got to realize is time is much shorter than what you think. When the UK Parliament, when they came up and said digital ID is going to be mandatory to work, and they're trying to make sure it's done by the end of their parliament, right? Before their parliament ends in 2029. So what people thought was they had time to get them to change the opinion on that and get that overlooked. But just because it says 2029, guess what? They've already rolled it out, and they've already basically said by January they want it in full effect. So don't go off of these times anymore that they give you by saying we're going to hope to do this by 2020 something. They already doing it now. When Trump passed that big beautiful bill, and they talking about them Section 8 cuts and the Medicare cuts and the food stamp cuts, all that technically wasn't supposed to go into effect until next year, 2026. But it's already taking place as it is. They've already cut. So don't listen. Don't think that there's more time than expected. When they pass these bills, they're looking to speed things up. And on top of that, the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, is looking to speed things up. As the scripture says, pray that you make the days short. So the days are being shortened, not lengthened, but shortened. So when they sit up here and talk about some 2029 or 2026, and they're going to make these cuts, it's already going into effect now. That's why the people are wailing and mourning now. So they said National Guard by April of 2026. Hell, they probably can get it even done even by January. But regardless, that's how close of the time frame it is. So the digital ID is going to be in effect, and then it's going to eventually hit all of the NATO states, and America is included. And then eventually that chip's going to come. You don't have the time that you think you got. And when I'm talking to these Israelite groups that want to teach a relaxation spirit. Let's just stay here and build. We got time. They don't got the time that they think that they got. That's why I don't sweat them. But if you was to ask Bishop Nathanyel that question now, would he give that same answer now? That's the question. And if he doesn't, then you're like, oh, wow, that's a major change. How did you go from 20, 30 years to 5 years or whatever the heck you'll say now? How did that happen? You know, and the answer is simple. The answer is you wasn't given the gift of prophecy, because prophecy is a gift. As 1 Corinthians chapter 12 says, verse 4. Now there are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit. And there are differences of administrations, but the same Lord. And there are diversities of operations, but it is the same power which worketh in all. And the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal. For to one is given the spirit of the word of wisdom, to another the word of knowledge by the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit, to another the gifts of healing by the same Spirit, to another the working of miracles, to another prophecy. Prophecy. So you see, prophecy is a gift. And that's really should be number one on the list. Okay? It's more important than worrying about being an Israelite celebrity. I want to be known in the Israelite world. I want to be known as a debater. I want to be known on this platform, that platform. So I'm going to this platform, I'm going to that platform. Like Captain Desariac is like an attention whore. He's gonna find the next platform to go this, and he's gonna go to the next one. You know, jumping in one bed to the next. No matter how low he lowers himself to go on these low platforms, he'll do it if it means they can get some more attention on him. And it's all just so he can keep repeating the same talking points. He ain't prophesying nothing. It's just to draw attention to himself. which is why he's in trouble. All these guys are in trouble too. Okay. Everybody think it's their time to shine. Everybody think it's their time to set themselves up as a leader. And that's why they say we got 20 some years, because they got a future and they want to build their name and their reputation. All the while, the devil is looking to set up martial law troops and to lock this place down. 1 Corinthians 14, follow after charity and desire spiritual gifts, but rather that ye may prophesy. For he that speaketh in an unknown tongue speaketh not unto men, but to Yahweh, for no man understandeth him, howbeit in the spirit he speaketh mysteries. But he that prophesieth speaketh unto men edification, exhortation, and comfort. He that speaketh in an unknown tongue edifieth himself, but he that prophesieth edifieth the church. I would that ye all spake with tongues, but rather that ye prophesy. For greater is he that prophesieth than he that speaketh with tongues, except he interpret, and the church may receive edifying. So prophecy is a gift, and it's more important than worrying about some community or whatever. That's why I say a community Israelite is not a prophet. You can't be. There's a conflict of interest. One seeks to stay here and build and grow. The other seeks to get the hell out of here, for the days to be shortened. So the prophet wants the days to be shortened and things to come to naught, whereas the community Israelite wants the days to be prolonged and the prophecies to be delayed. And their heart is going to tell them what their true intent is. And this is why we say that, put it this way, prophecy is a gift. If they don't have the gift of prophecy, then that means they don't have it. And that's because Yahweh Shemel Shah did not give it to them. As Amos 3, verse 7 says, surely the Lord Yahweh will do nothing, but he revealeth his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. NLT on that. Indeed, the sovereign Lord never does anything until he reveals his plans to his servants, the prophets. So the mark of the beast is coming. The microchip is coming. All these things are coming. And then the question is, well, how come Bishop Nathanyel wasn't the one to teach that or to prophesy that? Could it be that the Lord didn't reveal his secrets unto him? Could it be that the Lord didn't give them the gift of prophecy? This is why IUIC doesn't deal with prophecy anymore, because they made themselves look like a complete fool every time they go to break down anything regarding prophecy, anything regarding deep. They make themselves look like fools. So they just don't deal with prophecy altogether. They just deal with, the Messiah being a so-called black man and beating up on the Christian church because it's easy. It's easy. You're not gonna get every single Israelite from the Christian church. You should only deal with the elect. But for them, it's easy. It's an easy target to keep picking on, beating that dead horse known as Christianity. But what about prophecy? You see, they distance themselves from it. They're not talking about the martial law troops in 2nd Ezra 15. They're not going to do that because they don't have the gift of prophecy. So if we used to ask Bishop Nathanyel today, if he was asked that same question, given all the things that's happening today, how long do you think we have? Will he give that same answer? That's a question I would like to know. Don't ask me that question. Hey, so how long you think you got? I'm going to say, look, brother, we'll be lucky to see next year. Oh, man, that's soon? Yes. So you need to get on board with this right now. You ain't got much time. 20, 30 years? Are you crazy? This whole world is going to be changed in the next 20, 30 days. That's how fast it is. So how could you say something like that? This is even back then. Things was looking rough. But again, prophecy is a gift. And IUIC wasn't given that gift of prophecy. That's why they don't deal with prophecy. Literally, every time they try to go into a deep breakdown of prophecy, they fall flat on their face. From Revelation 13, the mark of the beast, to Ezekiel 38, which is World War III. You know what I'm saying? They flop. Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. And what's a vision? It's a prophecy, is a revealing. So where you don't have that gift of prophecy, you don't know what's coming. You don't know how to prepare yourself. You don't know what's coming next. You don't know how to spiritually arm yourself. You don't know what to look for. So if you knew that the mark of the beast was the chip, you know that we basically at the door. The devil is talking 2030. He's talking 2030, but then you got the Lord. Only the Lord knows. And the Lord and this devil, so when they say 2030, they really shooting before then. They talk about if they can get this to go next year, they trying to get it going next year. You understand? Don't say, oh, 2030, that means we got some time. No, don't go off that. First of all, you're dealing with the Lord on top of it. He's the one that's shorting the days. This devil talking about 2030. But really, he's moving faster than that. So don't think, oh, we're trying to get the digital ID by the end of our parliament. Okay, that's till 2029. No, they're going that. They're trying to get that going now. You understand? They're trying to get all this going now. Time is much shorter than what you actually think it is, which is a good thing if you're on the team of Yahushua. If you're not on the team of Yahushua, this is bad news to you because you got plans. Romans 13:11, and that, knowing the time, that now it is high time to wake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than we believe. Nearer than we believe. It's nearer than you think. Here it is, the Lord gonna wake us up in the last days, only for us to still linger around and play around for another 20, 30 years in this wicked ass hellhole. What? So the Lord woke us up just so we could sit around here like Alizé, 1,000 years. So he just woke us up, right, in these sensitive times, just so we could sit around and play for another 30, 20, or leave it to that guy 1,000 years. No, man. No, he woke us up for a purpose, because the days are short and the evil days are around the corner. You understand? So this is why prophecy is so important, and prophecy should be your key, your number one focus. Because as we read, prophecy both exhortive, edified, and comforted. And these groups that isn't warning you of the things that come, well, the scripture says they're about to eat of the fruit of their own doing. Shalom.